Good evening and welcome to Ignite News on 6 at 6. It's Thursday, June 19th, 2025. I'm Rihanna Nikram. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. AFC confirms coalition collapse as 3 former executives move to APNU ahead of September 1st elections. Blocking electors speaking a foreign language from voting is a criminal offense, warns Attorney General Anil Nandlal. Ghana tells UN that fighting poverty is key to lasting peace and stopping youth radicalization. And 3 new secondary schools will soon open in Region 3. We begin with major political news. Just months ahead of national elections, the Alliance for Change AFC has confirmed that its latest proposal for coalition agreement with the Partnership for National Unity APNU was rejected, effectively ending negotiations ahead of the September 1st general and regional elections. The fallout also comes as 3 former AFC executives, Shara Duncan, Jurita Fernandez, and the Honorine Ricky Ramsarup, have formally aligned themselves with APNU and will now contest elections on that party's list. According to an AFC statement, the party has terminated the membership of all 3 individuals, citing constitutional grounds and confirmation that they had officially joined another political organization. Repeated efforts to obtain clarification from the former members were unsuccessful, the party said. However, Duncan did briefly address his position during an appearance on the morning program For Your Information.
Never try to overthrow people or anything like that, but you're sitting to learn. There's a proverb that says, be ready to learn and be ready to teach. When you learn, you got to pass on. Now we're at a certain position, others looking to us, and then there's going to come a time in our political lives when I must be the comrade to somebody else. I must say you're coming nice, not undermining people and stifling people and so on. Right? Why like Buckbeard?
The AFC stated it had submitted a detailed proposal on June 16th by an intermediary. That proposal offered APNU the presidential nomination, while the AFC would retain the prime ministerial post. A 65 to 35 seat sharing split in favor of APNU was also proposed. However, the AFC said APNU later demanded the right to also select the prime ministerial candidate, something the AFC called a violation of established protocol. This demand is totally unacceptable to the AFC, the statement read, adding that the rejection proved APNU was and is not interested in a coalition. In its final compromise, the AFC reduced its seat request from 40% to 35%, but the proposal was still rejected. The AFC, which did not contest the 2023 local government elections, has seen declining public support in recent years. Meanwhile, the PNCR, the largest party in the APNU, made it clear that while it embraces coalition politics, it will not allow anyone to ride on its back. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal says anyone who prevents an elector from voting will be charged under the Representation of the People's Act. He was responding to claims that a politician has stated that he would advise his polling agents to prevent voters from casting their ballots if they speak a foreign language. Speaking on his program Issues and News on Tuesday, Nandlal described the alleged statement as reckless, reminding the public that preventing registered electors from voting is a criminal offense.
Now that's a highly irresponsible and reckless statement for a political leader to make on the eve of elections, or at any time whatsoever. First of all, there is no electoral system in the world that will bar a qualified elector from exercising his or her franchise on the basis of his language or his lingual inabilities. In other words, no system will bar the exercise of a right to vote because a person cannot speak a language, a particular language.
He added that in any country considered democratic, the law provides facilities to ensure that every registered, qualified elector is allowed to exercise their right to vote, noting that knowledge of a particular language, or lack thereof, has never been a qualification for voting. Nandlal said it is discriminatory and xenophobic to target individuals based on the language they speak.
our Representation of the People Act creates a series of offenses for anyone who obstructs or otherwise interferes with a person's right to vote once that person is a registered elector. And 78A of ROPA makes it a criminal offense. Any person who, without due authority, obstructs or otherwise interferes with access to or egress from a polling place. B, the voting at an election by any person registered as an elector. C, the conveyance of documents, supplies, and other materials pertaining to an election, including ballot boxes or ballot papers. D, the counting of votes cast at an election. If you interfere with that. E, an election officer in the exercise of his functions conferred upon him on this act. And to interfere with any polling agent, election agent, assistant counting agent, etc. All election officers, if you interfere with them or you obstruct them in the execution of their task, their legal functions, then such a person shall be liable on a summary conviction to a fine of $5 million, together with imprisonment for a term of 3 years.
Additionally, Nanla reminded the public that anyone found guilty of such offenses would also be ineligible to be registered as an elector or to be elected as a member of the National Assembly for a period of 5 years from the date of conviction. He cautioned those being encouraged to create such obstructions to take heed of what the law outlines. Note that Ghana has a history of misbehavior during election periods. Turning now to developments in the agriculture sector, more than 4,300 farmers across all 10 regions of Ghana are set to benefit from the newly launched Agricultural and Infrastructural Development Program, AIDP. Notably, a significant number of these beneficiaries, 40%, are expected to be women and youth. The $18 million initiative, funded through the CARICOM Development Fund, CDF, was officially launched yesterday with the signing of a financing agreement. CDF Chief Executive Officer Rudinal Sumer signed on behalf of the agency. Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance and public service, Dr. Ashni Singh, expressed gratitude to the CDF for its continued partnership. He noted that Guyana, a founding member of the fund, has consistently benefited from its support. Dr. Singh emphasized that the program targets agriculture, a sector of vital national importance, and aligns with both the government's development priorities and CARICOM's regional food security agenda. The agreement was signed at the Ministry of Finance in the presence of officials from the Ministry of Agriculture and Finance. The Ministry of Agriculture, under the leadership of Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, will oversee the program's implementation. Prioritizing only political solutions in conflict zones where poverty and underdevelopment are widespread will not achieve lasting peace. That was a message from Ghana's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Hugh Todd, as he addressed the United Nations Security Council's open debate on poverty, underdevelopment, and conflict, implications for the maintenance of international peace and security.
It is equally critical to create conditions for socio-economic stability and well-being. We must therefore address, inter alia, lack of economic opportunities, lack of access to education, underemployment, and exclusion. It is also important to strengthen national institutions as part of peace-building efforts, including those institutions that foster social and economic development. Our global institutions must support these efforts. We have been speaking for decades about the need for reform of the international financial institutions. We must also see this reform as important for peace and stability and security. In fact, there is truth in the saying that being poor is expensive, since developing countries expend more to access finance.
During his address, Minister Todd emphasized the importance of addressing structural inequality, urging the global financial system to become more responsive to the needs of developing countries, especially those emerging from conflict.
This is critical for de-risking and resilience building. I underscore the example, the IMF's conclusion that every $1 spent on conflict prevention in countries with recent violence could save up to $103 in costs. Sound macroeconomic policies and international support for these policies can play key roles in conflict prevention. This should be an element in the Council's early recovery efforts. This brings me to my next point. Participation of women and youth as part of a broader approach to peace and security. Currently, the global youth population is the highest in history, with most young people concentrated in developing countries. For us to harness their full potential, they must be given adequate economic opportunities and be involved in decision-making on peace and security.
He warned that neglecting poverty and underdevelopment creates fertile ground for the recruitment and radicalization of young people by terrorists and armed groups. Citing a 2023 UNDP report, taught that economic hardship, not ideology, is the main driver behind youth involvement in extremist movements. Ghana currently holds the presidency of the UN Security Council for June. This is the second high-level debate Ghana has hosted since beginning its 2-year term as a non-permanent member in January 2024. President Irfan Ali chaired the first signature event in February 2024, focused on climate change and food insecurity as threats to peace. Under Ghana's leadership, the Council is prioritizing 5 thematic areas: climate change, food security, peace building and conflict prevention, women and global security, and youth and children in peace and security. This is Ghana's 3rd time serving on the Security Council, with previous terms in 1975 to 76 and 1982 to 83. Still ahead, 3 new secondary schools are almost ready to open their doors, and a new crime app is coming to a phone near you. Please stay with us.
The ExxonMobil Guyana Global Super League is back, and it's bigger than ever. Defending champions, Rangpur Riders, return to defend their crown. But the Warriors, the proud hosts, are ready to battle on home soil. The best from Australia, New Zealand, and the UAE join the fight for global glory. The ultimate test, the ultimate prize. It's the clash of the T20 champions. Get your tickets now at Warriors Box Office or GSLT20.com.
This is Ignite News on 6 at 6. Students in Region 3 will soon benefit from 3 new secondary schools as the Ministry of Education moves closer to delivering on its promise of universal secondary education. 2 of the schools, Tushan and Neems, are set to open in the coming weeks. Education Minister Priya Manik-Chan, during a series of site visits, said the openings will allow for the closure of all primary tops in the region, ensuring that students are placed in a fully equipped secondary school. Standing outside the multipurpose hall at the new Tushan Secondary, the minister expressed satisfaction with progress on site.
So this is what's going to be the new Tushan Secondary School. If you look behind me, look at that beauty. That's the multipurpose hall. And it's coming along really beautifully. And the whole idea, the new thinking about school is that it mustn't be burdensome. It must be a place children want to come to. And when you come in here, it's, this is my oasis. And in that, they also learn so that they could come out of whatever dire situations they may be coming from families, you know, poverty or absent parents or parents who didn't have opportunities before, so an uneducated household. And this is what we want for the children of this country. And this Tushan Secondary School is representing that. This is going to be handed over to us. The buildings will be handed over shortly.
Manik-Chan explained that the final touches are now being applied to the school's environs.
So we're looking now at landscaping. There's going to be a multi-purpose court, a shade house, place for an agricultural plot, and just a complete secondary school. Now, the kids who are coming here, or who will be coming here, were in primary tops are crowded up into other schools. So when those schools give us those children, they will now have more space. We'll be able to repair them better, renovate them better. And so all of Region 3 with the 5 schools that we're, secondary schools that we're building, that is the Willem, which is finished. This is Tushin, Neems, Westminster, which is finished and is a state-of-the-art school. And the new crane that I just turned the sod for. Region 3 is going to be great with secondary education. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Meanwhile, over the $1.3 billion Neems Secondary School, works are also progressing.
The whole purpose of constructing secondary schools across the country, but particularly here in Region 3, is so that we could make sure every single child could get into a high school, a discrete high school with labs and furniture and classrooms. You would be surprised to know that when I came into office in 2020, Region 3 had the most trouble, as well as Georgetown and the East Bank, where we were unable to place more than 700 children into secondary schools. We're down to a place where, come September, we're going to be able to close all the primary tops in Region 3 because of the schools that we're opening, Tushin Secondary and this Neems Secondary.
The minister added that while some contractors are working according to schedule and have been meeting deadlines for completing their lots, there's another who has missed the deadline. Nevertheless, she noted that schools' openings will go according to plan.
Those are some of the challenges we have to face, and sometimes we're going to really have to look at how we deal with those kinds of challenges in the future, because we go out to public bid and people bid saying they can do this job at this price in this time, and then when they don't bring it in, it's children that suffer. But we found a solution here, which is a beautiful solution, which is to lock off the person who has not finished while he completes his finishing, and apply whatever liquidated and other damages we can on him. That's a legal process that we have to go through. But I am here to say that the Neems Secondary School will begin in September. And because this school is beginning in September, we're going to be able to close all primary tops. This school and the Tushin Secondary School, we're going to be able to close all primary tops across Region 3. To make it even more comfortable, later today, turn the sod at the new Reed and Hoop / Crane Secondary School.
Meanwhile, sod was turned yesterday for a new $900 million secondary school at Crane, designed to accommodate 500 students. All 3 projects are part of the ministry's broader effort to modernize educational infrastructure and eliminate overcrowding in the school system. Home Affairs Minister Robson Ben is renewing calls for greater personal responsibility on Guyana's roads as the government prepares to launch a new digital crime reporting platform called Secure Eye. The initiative comes alongside the ongoing national helmet distribution campaign aimed at improving road safety, particularly for motorcyclists. Speaking during a recent outreach, Minister Ben described road accidents as a form of violent crime and said the government remains committed to increasing peace. He revealed that road fatalities are up by 3% so far this year, with motorcyclists making up nearly all of the 20 deaths recorded. To address the issue, the Ministry of Home Affairs, working with the Guyana Police Force and corporate partners, has ramped up helmet distribution. Ben urged especially young riders to wear full-face helmets, saying the right gear could be the difference between life and death. On broader public safety, Ben noted a 12.3% drop in serious crimes compared to the same period last year, crediting better policing and stronger community ties. The upcoming Secure Eye platform will let citizens report crimes such as domestic violence, robbery, and other issues directly from their phones or computers. Ben is encouraging all Guyanese to use the tool to help police respond more quickly and effectively. Tawana Hamlet, a 28-year-old hairdresser from Anns Grove, East Coast Demerara, has been arrested and charged by officers at Cove and John Police Station with 2 counts of inflicting grievous bodily harm. Hamlet is accused of attacking 26-year-old Tyrese Brandon Boucher and his 4-year-old daughter last Sunday at Anns Grove. Yesterday, Hamlet appeared before her worship, Orinthia Schmidt, at the Cove and John Magistrates Court. The charge was read to her, she pleaded not guilty, and she was granted bail of $80,000 on each count. The matter was adjourned to July 13 for reports and statements. Stay tuned for more Ignite News after these messages.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Guy Oil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
You're watching Ignite News on 6 at 6. A global celebration of rhythm and culture comes alive in Georgetown this evening as Ghana joins the world in marking Fedila Musique, also known as International Music Day. The free public event takes place across two venues today, Friday, June 21st. It kicks off at 5 p.m. at Imanayana and continues from 7 p.m. at MC Sports Bar, Movie Town. Organized by Alliance Française de Georgetown in collaboration with the French Embassy in Suriname and Guyana and Music Unlimited, the event highlights a wide range of musical styles, from acoustic and percussion to jazz, pop, and more.
This event will give people an opportunity to socialize with members of our French-speaking community. It is a great way to practice their French if they already speak it, or surround themselves with the language and meet new people if they've always been curious about it.
This year's lineup includes performances by Abel Stokes, Drums for Life, Amor Girola, Von Mark Hestick, and Maria Rodriguez, with more surprise acts expected to take the stage. Fedila Musique began in France in 1982 and has since grown into a global tradition, now celebrated in over 120 countries. Its mission? To make music spontaneous, inclusive, and accessible to all. In Guyana, the festival continues to grow, uniting communities through the shared language of music. Whether at Umanayana or the MC Sports Bar, attendees can expect an evening of rhythm, energy, and cultural connection. In sports, Ghana's men's table tennis team faced a tough start at the Caribbean Regional Championships in Barbados, falling 1-3 in both of their group stage matches against the Dominican Republic and St. Lucia. Despite the defeats, standout player Shamar Britton provided a bright spot, securing Ghana's only match wins in both encounters. His powerful serves and tactical play drew praise, especially during a hard-fought singles victory that showcased his resilience and skill. The team now shifts focus to the men's singles competition, which begins on June 20th. Britton will be joined by teammate Niran Bisu as both players aim to bounce back and deliver stronger performances in the individual rounds. Newly appointed India Test captain Shubman Gill has expressed that leading his team to a series win in England would mean more to him than winning the Indian Premier League (IPL). As India prepares to face England in a 5-test series starting in Leeds on Friday, Gill highlighted the rarity and prestige of such an opportunity, calling it a bigger achievement than annual IPL victories. The BBC reported that the 25-year-old, who previously won the IPL with Gujarat Titans and now captains the franchise, emphasized that Test series wins in countries like England, Australia, New Zealand, or South Africa are more significant due to the difficulty and historical weight. He acknowledged that while IPL seasons are recurring, a chance to captain India in a marquee overseas Test series is rare and highly coveted. Gill, a product of the IPL generation, made his debut in the league at 18 and since risen to become India's Test captain, a role he described as the biggest honor in Indian sport. India has not won a Test series in England since 2007, despite leading 2-1 in the 2021 series, before losing the delayed final match a year later, resulting in a drawn series. Gill will bat at number 4, replacing the retired Virat Kohli, while India's final playing 11 is yet to be confirmed. Ignite News will be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Ignite News on 6 at 6. Regionally, Jamaica's police force is defending its approach to forensic investigations. Senior Superintendent Christopher Brown, head of the Forensic Services Branch of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, has addressed public concerns about potential bias in how forensic expertise is applied in missing persons investigations. Speaking on the JCF's Force for Good podcast, Brown assured listeners that the Communications Forensics and Cybercrime Division, which operates under the Forensic Services Branch, plays a vital role in all investigations, including those involving missing persons.
The forensic services, that important science, plays a role in all investigations. All investigations. As it relates to the work of the CFCD, missing person investigation is one of the things that they actually support investigators with. We're able to provide timely and accurate and reliable information to investigators regarding efforts to go searching for missing persons. But rest assured that the CFCD provides reasonable and sufficient support to investigators regarding missing persons investigation.
Brown emphasized the division's commitment to supporting these cases through the provision of accurate, timely, and reliable information, both in traditional and digital investigative landscapes. He reassured the public that the division offers sufficient and reasonable support to detectives handling missing persons matters. Highlighting the broader role of the division, Brown noted the division functions as a key arm of the JCF, particularly in the fight against digital crimes. He pointed to evidence of success in crime reduction and improved public engagement, crediting this in part to the division's capabilities. Despite these efforts, Brown acknowledged that public misperceptions about investigative processes continue to pose challenges.
The forensic science is that kind of behind-the-scenes work, often associated with that fancy thing on television, CSI, that lends a kind of support to investigations. It's difficult at times to share with the public that what you're seeing on the television is not necessarily the reality of the case. There are turnaround times regarding the processing of some physical evidence. And so it's not necessarily going to happen within 24 hours. It's not necessarily going to be happening in 48 hours. Sometimes some of these tests or scientific responses to our investigation does take some time. And we want the public to appreciate that we are working on these things and there's a time associated with it. So one of the biggest challenges is really competing with the Hollywood effects of CSI and providing that accurate, thorough, and reliable support from forensics.
Nonetheless, he reaffirmed the division's ongoing commitment to using its forensic and cyber expertise to support all investigations, ensuring justice and safety for the Jamaican people. In international news, the U.S. State Department says it's resuming international student visa appointments, but with much stricter screening measures. Applicants for F, M, and J visas used by academic, vocational, and exchange students will now be asked to make their social media accounts public. Officers have been instructed to scan posts for signs of hostility toward the U.S., its citizens, culture, government, or founding principles. Those who keep their accounts private may be flagged as trying to hide their online activity. The move follows a pause in visa processing in late May, as the Trump administration prepared to roll out tougher vetting procedures. Officials say the changes are aimed at identifying anyone who may support foreign terrorist groups, pose national security threats, or engage in anti-Semitic harassment or violence. A statement from the State Department says it's what Americans expect, that the government will act every day to keep the country safe. It stresses that the U.S. visa is a privilege, not a right. The move also comes amid a broader Trump crackdown on America's top universities. 9 European Union countries are calling on the European Commission to propose ways to end EU trade with Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories. Reuters reports that in a letter to the Commission foreign ministers from countries including Belgium, Ireland, Spain, and Sweden, cited a July 2024 advisory opinion from the International Court of Justice. The advisory declared Israel's settlements illegal and urged states to avoid economic ties that sustain the occupation. The ministers say the Commission has yet to offer concrete proposals and are urging action to bring EU trade policy in line with international law. The EU is Israel's largest trading partner, with two-way goods trade totaling nearly 42 billion euros last year. though it's unclear how much of that involves settlement activity. Belgium's foreign minister said trade must reflect Europe's legal and moral responsibilities. The letter comes ahead of an EU foreign ministers meeting in Brussels on June 23rd, where Israel's human rights record under its EU agreement will be reviewed. And that's all for this edition of Ignite News on 6 at 6. For more stories, visit ignitenews.com or follow us on social media. Thanks for watching. I'm Rihanna Nikram. See you tomorrow for more Ignite News.